Welcome to an introduction to accounting, brought to you by Parkbench Tutors and narrated by David Hopcroft. In this podcast we are going to look at the recording of the part exchange of an asset. Very often assets are purchased for cash, so we simply go out and buy what we need, the computer, the printer or whatever, and we give a check. In other words, we pay cash for the asset. But that doesn't always happen. And if you consider what very often happens if you go and change your car, what you do is you take your old car there and you negotiate with various dealers to see who will give you the best price or part exchange for your old vehicle. Well, a similar thing happens in business. An old asset can be used in part exchange for a new asset, and that means that you have to agree a price which is effectively the value on the old asset, and you set that price off against the cost of the new asset. And then of course what you do is pay the difference in cash. So Dover Paint Company wish to purchase a van for £15,000, and they've got an older van and they want to part exchange that. So they go around a number of different dealers and they agree that there's a part exchange value for the old van at £8,000. That's the best value they can get for it. And the paint company, Debit Paint Company, are going to pay the balance by cheque. So, which accounts are involved and what other information do we need to know? Well, we want to know what the old van cost originally, and that will be recorded in the assets, motor vehicles account. And we want to know what the accumulated depreciation to date is, and that will be in an accumulated depreciation account for motor vehicles. Right, the asset motor vehicles account shows that the original purchase price for the old van was $11,400, so it's got a debit of $11,400 in. And the accumulated depreciation has got a credit of $2,400. So those are the figures we need to know. So we start by removing the entries for the old van using the disposal account as we would normally. We will credit the asset motor vehicles account with $11,400. We will debit the disposals account with $11,400. That removes the value for the old van, the cost of the old van. And we will now take the accumulated depreciation and we will debit that with $2,400 and credit the disposals account with $2,400. That now removes our accumulated depreciation. So what's the next step? Well, there are two figures that made up the purchase price of the new vehicle. Let's start by entering the part exchange value. We debit the asset motor vehicles account with $8,000, and then we're going to credit the disposals account with $8,000 as if it was proceeds for a sale. Now the balance is paid in cash, so again we've got to debit the motor vehicles account with the £7,000 that was paid in cash, and of course the other side of that entry will be a credit to the bank of £7,000. We now go back and we look at the disposals account and we see what we need to do, if anything, to balance that. Well, we do. We need to add £1,000 as a credit to balance that, and the other side of that entry, double entry, will be a debit to the gain or loss on disposal of an asset. Since it's a debit, it will reflect a loss on the disposal of that asset, of the old van. If we now look at the disposal account, we add up all the debits and all the credits, we will see we've got $11,400 for debits and $11,400 for credits. The disposal account has been balanced, so finished with that. If we now look at the asset motor vehicles account and we balance that, we will see that the balance is a debit of $15,000, and that reflects the value of the new vehicle, the new van that we've bought. And if we look at the accumulated depreciation account, we will see that that is also got a zero balance in at the moment, and the next entries for it will of course be when the new vehicle, new van, is first depreciated. That ends our podcast on the part exchange of an asset and the recording of that, brought to you by Parkbench Tutors, narrated by David Hopcroft. Thank you for watching and for listening. We wish you success in your studies. For further information you can find us on Facebook, Parkbench Tutors, or you can look us up at parkbenchtutors.com. Thank you.